Okay, so let's talk about Tár with an grave accent over the A, the new Kate Blanchett film.
I'm so
Is
sorry.
that Jason? Is that an update?
It's just a copy of the thing that he sent to you.
Okay.
It's the same thing, yeah. So thank you, Jason.
Same meaningless drivel.
Same meaningless drivel.
Hello to Jason Isaacs. So let's talk about Tár, Kate Blanchett's new movie.
New film by actor turned director Todd Field, who made Little Children and is in Eyes Wide Shut, amongst other things. This is heavily Oscar-tipped. Variety have it as a deadlock for nominations for Best Picture and Best Actress for Kate Blanchett. She is currently, I think it's her or Michelle Yeoh are pretty much the kind of the title fight as far as the Oscars are concerned. Kate Blanchett plays Lydia Tár, celebrated conductor, composer, who we meet at the very beginning of the film being interviewed extensively about her brilliant career. Here's a clip. And that's quite an extensive scene, isn't it? That
Very long
interview
scene.
goes on for quite a while. And it's then followed by another scene in which she's giving a class on, which is basically becomes an argument about whether or not you can conflate art and the artist. Her partner is Sharon, by Nina Hoss, who is the lead violinist in the orchestra. She has a book coming out, which is basically about her brilliance. It's called something like Tár on Tár, isn't it? It's like, she's a genius. She's also, in the way of screen geniuses particularly, a very, very flawed character. Early scene, which I just referred to, basically has her berating a student who judges composers on their personal life, on their, who they are, what they did in the world. And she starts saying, if you start judging, if you start throwing people out like that, you're going to throw out all the great composers. And there's a kind of, she sort of berates the student at great length. And I think the scene ends with the student walking out. It turns out that she has a habit or she's in a long-standing relationship, of having inappropriate relationships with people in which her position of power is abused. And there is a thing going on in the background that there is someone with whom she was involved whose career seems to have been, potentially stymied by the fallout of the relationship. So the film addresses some fairly hot topic issues. Cancel culture. I mean, I noticed, for example, that, some of the right-wing press have become very delighted about the fact that it's, it's an anti-woke, anti-cancel culture. No, exactly, it isn't. That's just, that's like Donald Trump saying that Citizen Kane is a film, the moral of which is you should get a better wife. I mean, it's like, well done for literally not reading the thing in front of you. The nature of genius, which is a subject that we return to more and more, the role of consent and power struggles. It's also become a bit of a hot topic, and we should flag this up, because Marin Alsop, who I confess is not somebody with whom I was familiar until she was in the press recently saying that
leading conductor,
but she said, I first read about the film in late August. I was shocked that this was the first I was hearing of it. So many superficial aspects of Tár seem to align with my own personal life. So she seems to be saying that the film takes inspiration from her life. But once I saw it, I was no longer concerned. I was offended. I was offended as a woman. I was offended as a conductor. I was offended as a lesbian. She goes on to say, to have the opportunity to portray a woman in that role and make her an abuser, for me, that was heartbreaking. I think all women and all feminists should be bothered by that kind of depiction, because it's not really about women conductors. There are so many men, actual documented men, that this film could have been based on, but instead it puts a woman in the role but gives her all the attributes of those men. That feels anti-women. Now, a couple of things to say. Firstly, I think the fact that the central character in this is a woman is what makes it interesting, not what makes it, makes it anti-women. I think actually that's one of the most interesting things about it, that she is a woman. And very, very early on in the film, she's asked about that, and she sort of poo-poos the idea, the Tár character does. And in fact, she mentions Marin Alsop in this list of sort of successful women. So it's almost saying this is not who we're talking about. It mentions a whole bunch of other people. So there's a lot going on in the film, and it has at the centre of it a powerhouse performance by Cate Blanchett. You and I were talking last night, and I think you said you believed that she was a conductor.
Definitely.
And in the same way that you believe that Daniel Day-Lewis is capable of whatever profession it is that he's playing on screen at the point that he's playing it. Do you remember Meg Ryan is a helicopter pilot? No, she isn't. Cate Blanchett is a helicopter pilot. I think she could actually probably fly the helicopter. So it's a...
And on the soundtrack, which our producer just discovered, she is conducting. So she is conducting the orchestra. And this is a Deutsche Grammophon soundtrack. So it's a lot.
Also name-checked Hilda Gudnadottir, who, of course, is the musical director for the production. And her name is mentioned in the thing as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on in it. And Blanchett is, like I said, her and Michelle Yeoh are absolutely neck and neck as far as the Oscars race is concerned. I really wanted to like Tar because I think there are interesting things going on in it. I have to confess that I found it, I spent a long time admiring it, much more than I did actually enjoying it. And I think the problems for me are twofold. The first one is it's very, very verbose and almost painfully aware of the discussions that it's having. And as you know, I've always had this thing about physicality over words. It's not that her performance isn't physically great. I mean, when you see those scenes when she's conducting, that's a dance. That's a cabaret. That's a ballet that you're watching. But there is an awful lot of just, simple discussing the things straight out. Second thing is, I'm not sure that having set up all the ideas that it has, I'm not sure that it actually does anything particularly fascinating with them beyond the central idea of it being interesting that it's Cate Blanchett playing the central character who's, she is a genius, but she's also monstrous. She's talented, but she's also incredibly, she is abusive in her relationship. She uses her power over those around her. And the third thing is, it's a film which takes its time. There are long, long scenes which actually feel like they're saying to you, look how long we're doing this. And right at the beginning, the interview sequence, then the sequence in which there is the whole discussion in which the film flags up the issue of cancel culture. It says, you can't throw out all these composers because you don't like their personal lives, because what are you going to end up with? And then I'm not sure that it then manages to move much beyond that. Now, I should say that people I know and respect absolutely love the film, and one of my closest colleagues, Wendy Ide, just thinks it's a flat-out 5-star masterpiece. I don't. I think it's an interesting film that's a bit full of itself. What did you think?
I'm somewhere between you and Wendy Ide.
Okay, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, I mean, because I did enjoy it, and you go and see it because the music is fantastic, and if anyone can disappear into this world, Cate Blanchett manages to do that. You completely believe that she is the conductor, and that's the heart of it. And I agree with you that it's more interesting because it was a woman who was a conductor rather than a man.
And I don't think it's anti-women. Do you?
No, not in the slightest. I do think it, but I agree it is verbose and also a bit up itself. For example, the title of the movie is Tar. And people are going to look at that and go, what's that? We've discussed before, when a movie title is a fictional character's name, I think it's a bit baffling you walk past a poster and you go, Tar, and it's got an accent on the air. What is that? Why can't you just have had a proper title? Anyway, so I'm between Ide and Kermode. There you go. Between a rock and a hard place. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. But I have done.
Excellent.